So the California Migration Museum, we tell stories about immigration, but we do that in a way which is exciting, engaging, immersive. The idea is to really bring those stories to life because they're so relevant to the questions we all are kind of asking today about where do we belong, who are we, who do we want to be. We knew we really wanted to do something about food because it's such a wonderful entrance point to getting people to think about, well, what are these cultures, how did they come about, and how do I relate to them? We came up with this idea of let's build a map.
There's like hundreds, if not thousands, of immigrant kitchens in San Francisco, and we wanted to do a project that somehow mapped that and really showed how immigration from, 1849 through the tech wave now, the different dishes and recipes that immigrants have brought here and how it's shaped the culture of the city. It's not the kind of thing where you have to sit down and read for hours and hours, but you get like a 2.5-minute little story and you kind of come away from that feeling like you can eat those foods or you'll never look really at a dish the same way again. You have that context.
We decided to kind of start our own adventure and journey across the city. The result was the Melting Spots map.
San Francisco is a place where there are so many different immigrant communities that find their home here. We're a sanctuary city, we're a welcoming place to be. And the Melting Spot is such a great project to be able to get out and explore the city, its history, and how we got to have some of the best cuisine in the entire country and maybe even the entire world.
My mother and myself and 2 sisters, with the fall of Saigon, we had to leave Vietnam quick. I think my mom had 1 hour to pack and gather her things and gather her kids and head to the airport and evacuate. So we found ourselves bound to San Francisco. Fortunately, my grandmother was already here. That's why San Francisco was the destination for us. It goes back to my grandmother, my beautiful grandmother who loved to travel, and she was also very afraid of the war that was going on in Vietnam. She came to San Francisco and she kind of fell in love with the city. She visited a little Italian deli by Ocean Beach because she loved going to the beach. And she met the owner, and the owner told her that this place was for sale. And she decided that this was her opportunity to stay in San Francisco and her dream to be a business owner and open a restaurant.
I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and I graduated from a French program, baccalaureate, school. Then I didn't have any means to go to private universities. At that time, we had heard that College of San Mateo, right in our backyard, had a program for foreign students. We got 5, 6 of us together. We went to the American Embassy in Beirut, and this woman welcomed us, and she gave both. She really cautioned us that, hey, don't think it's easy to go, to another country. And then after about a year, I got accepted. And my dad says, you're not going anywhere, I'm the eldest son, I said, Dad, I'm accepted, I'm gonna go. Ended up in San Francisco where I had friends like that. So I attended the College of San Mateo as a foreign student. From there, I transferred to Chico State College. So I graduated there, and that's where my culinary adventure started. I loved cooking, and also it reminded me of my childhood.
My father created La Med really with a dream and a lot of grit and determination, worked very, very hard. To me, food is one of the most readily accessible keys to understanding a culture. I don't think many people have the opportunity to travel to Armenia or Lebanon. We're very lucky in this city. The abundance of Asian cuisines and Latin cuisines. So restaurants are in many ways an opportunity to engage with another culture through food.
My grandfather had in his backyard, you name it, we had it. I mean, it was tomatoes, eggplant, zucchini. But my grandma's cooking, the aromas and the memory of the senses of the body is very powerful. Whenever you travel, these memories of senses, it's not just an image, because it's an experience, all five senses get into it. I think that's why food is so important for immigrants. You know, they go, the first thing, you know, before anything, because we gotta eat, you know, you gotta nourish the body. And you do what you remember, and I went all from memory, really.
I remember my grandmother telling me stories that, like when she first opened Thanh Long in 1971, people really didn't know much about Vietnamese food, and she actually started selling both the Italian deli food and half of that food and half Vietnamese food. And she would stand in the corner trying to pass out samples to try to lure customers into the restaurant and try Vietnamese food. I think that when you immigrate to a new place and you just have your family and you have each other, and food is what holds your family together. At least for my family, for sure, that was a time we would get to enjoy food, make connections, bond, sit together, and be together. I just remember my grandmother and my mom working hard all the time, and once a week, Thanh Long was closed on Mondays, and we would have family dinner. We would gather, and she would cook the food that she serves to the customers, and us and all the kids, we would always look forward to that. My grandmother, coming in 1971, she brought Vietnamese food to San Francisco. We're known to be the first Vietnamese restaurant in San Francisco, and that's one way we kind of contributed to the San Francisco scene and diversity. I feel like we kind of started the garlic noodles popularity in San Francisco.
For San Francisco to have this map saying, look at all the people who came here and they've made things that you can only find in SF. We're the place where you get a mission burrito. We're the place where garlic noodles started. And that kind of heritage of the city is something which, you know, sometimes can be overlooked or sort of is not seen in the kind of depth that I think our map brings to it.
I think the melting spot is important because it highlights the richness of San Francisco, the diversity. It's a way for each restaurant or each spot on the map to share their story through food that they serve to their diners. So I think it's a special way to kind of highlight the welcomeness and the inclusivity that San Francisco community and the Bay Area has.
It's one of those projects that's so uniquely San Francisco that speaks to the long history of immigration and cuisine that this city has been known for. The melting spot allows these small businesses that have been around for a while, but to really shine with their own unique stories and flavors, and so we really love it. The ecosystem here in San Francisco is very unique and very welcoming of immigrants and immigrant initiatives. San Francisco's choice to honor us with the Legacy Business Recognition really shows their support of small local businesses.
A legacy business is a business that has been around and open in San Francisco for at least 30 years. Legacy businesses are some of the most foundational businesses in our neighborhood corridors. They have provided services and a place for community to gather for oftentimes for generations. They're really part of the cultural fabric that makes San Francisco neighborhoods so unique.
The idea was really to take what our strength is, which is to tell these stories about immigration, about belonging, about some of the amazing kind of history of this city as well. I think in some ways it's kind of our love letter to San Francisco.